Hi, welcome to ACS Composite. My name is Joseph, and we're finally back with a new install video. What we're looking at today is our new filler panel for the Z06 E-Ray, and of course, the ZR1, which was just released. So what we've done here is design something to complete or accent this area of the car. Now, this area doesn't really have much of a function other than holding the license plate, whether you're in Europe with the long one or in North America with the typical one. We designed something that would basically accentuate. So let's not kid ourselves. This doesn't increase the performance of your car. It's a purely cosmetic piece. So obviously we're using the carbon flash black metallic paint, which matches the diffuser, the wickers, and all the other pieces. But what we did, very similar to what we did on the Stingray, is use the tail lights as our inspiration. So since we figured it's something that's going to look good, let's just use some of the elements that are there. So instead of going with a non-functional mesh or some, I call it fake performance, we just admit it what it is. It's something that looks good, so let's use this, let's replicate it. And that's exactly what this is all about. We're just basically taking that theme and bringing it here. Now, if we do want to have some fun, we could also go with a color match license plate frame. So once we do the install here, I'm actually going to be swapping it out for a hypersonic gray license plate frame. And I find that's a really fun way to highlight this area of the car. The installation, very simple. It gets mounted using these two screws. We'll show you how to install the double-sided tape, and that really locks it all in. So if ever you sell the car, you could remove it. The installation process is very simple. The Z06 E-Ray filler panel installation is definitely something you should do yourself at home. Basically what you get is everything for the installation. The only thing you'll need to complete it is a utility knife or an X-Acto knife and a T30 screwdriver, potentially maybe a Phillips screwdriver to remove the dealer plate or the dealer screws that hold your license plate frame. When you open up the box, obviously we have the panel itself. These are always offered in carbon flash black, pre-drilled. There's the ACS logo on it, which is gonna get hid by the license plate frame. But if you're a show goer, it's always fun maybe to take it off and you got something to see. We finally have our license plate frame. These are sold separately or as part of the package. We're now going to be going with the hypersonic gray. We do offer all the different Z06 colors. So it's a really fun way to accentuate this area. And obviously it lines up and we got a little bit of an accent that brings the color to the car. Obviously some double-sided tape. Our carbon flash T30 bolts. We do get a lot of questions on these. They are painted carbon flash to match. It's a T30 head, so it's a really nice touch over a plastic cap or the silver bolts we generally see. A special note, if you have your own license plate frame, we see a lot of guys with the Z06 ones or Corvettes or the dealer ones, the screws come with the plate itself. So obviously if you got another style, it will work. So all states will work with this and all the frames will work if it pre-fitted on the car. We also get a piece of foam. This is basically a compressible foam, very much the same foam we see from the factory on the bumper itself. The reason we include this is that the 52 license plate frames we have for each state are slightly different. Sometimes it's a size, sometimes it's the shape. So we have here a flat plate. When we look at the profile, it's basically just a die-cut aluminum plate. Some states, like our province, basically has a beveled edge. When this happens, different shapes, different sizes, when we install it into our tabs and flex it, we'll notice some resistance. This one actually is at the limit. Some states will actually see it pop up. If that is the case, that's when the foam comes in. So it's just a preventative tool we give you. You could install it at the top and you're able to flex it into position. Depending on the shape, sometimes we'll put it at the bottom. So it's basically an adjustment. It doesn't mean you have to use it. Most of the time, it's just a spare part. So next will be the prep. We have our prep, which is an adhesion promoter. This is basically a catalyst for the double-sided tape. What this does, it cures it faster and it makes sure this sticks really well to the car. The first step of the installation is preparation. So we want to clean all surfaces of the panel and the car. For simplicity's sake, we already removed the license plate frame off this car. Most of the time we find Phillips screws from the dealership. So a large Phillips head screwdriver will do the trick. But sometimes you'll see plastic covers and whatnot. So that is basically the mini adventure. The next step is to prep the area. So our plate will actually have a contact point on the perimeter using double-sided tape. It's also being held on by the two screws. So for that reason, we're okay if your car was ceramic coated or film protected in this area. It's actually being held mechanically. The tape is there for vibration reasons. So for that, we're okay. What we're using to prep is basically an alcohol water solution to make sure it's clean, dust-free, and grease-free. We're doing the same step to both the car and the back side of the filler panel. And then we'll be opening our promoter, which is basically a catalyst for the double-sided tape, and we'll be applying it to the exact same areas of the pattern of the filler panel. We're gonna focus on the back side of the filler panel. I'll miss some of the alcohol, again, just to degrease if you had any hand grease or in packaging. And on the back side, we'll notice we have some rectangles. These are a provision for the double-sided tape. We also have a horizontal bar at the bottom, which is pretty easy to miss. So this one here. Our next step, adhesion promoter. This is what hardens the double-sided tape and makes it cure a little faster. Obviously, we want the car at room temp. The tape itself is activated by this, heat and pressure. So if we could get all three, we know we're getting an easy, quick install. And all we want is a coating on the panel. Once it evaporates, it's actually ready for the tape. Since I have the pad, I'll head over to the car and mirror the same pattern. I have my adhesion promoter. I'm keeping a rag. We don't want this to drip. The adhesion promoter can stain the car. So what I do is I keep my rag under it and I go apply the same pattern at the top. We also did the bottom section and follow through, making like a numerical 7 shape in this area. So the pattern on the filler panel was top, edge, bottom, and all the way up. We'll let this cure and we'll get ready for the double-sided tape installation. The adhesion promoter has evaporated, so we're ready for the double-sided tape installation. We follow the scribe pattern and it goes inside that rectangle. Again, not extremely critical, but a neat job is a good job. The bottom portion, which is raised or recessed depending where you're looking at it. I stretched a small portion, so I'm going to delete that. You can tell the adhesion promoter is doing its job when it's instantly stuck on. The tape is activated by the promoter, heat and pressure. So the last thing to do is to apply some pressure, ensuring it's correctly stuck to the filler panel itself. And we are ready to install it on the car. Our next step is to prep the license plate frame if you opted for this option. We'll notice it has 2 tabs at the bottom, and our license plate, or most of them anyway, have 4 holes. We slide it into the tabs and center the plate to the frame. So you don't want to center it to the holes, because depending on your state, that may not happen. But the idea is to at least get the left to right perfect and parallel. And that's about it. I'm using some double-sided tape to set it into position. This avoids any potential vibrations and movements as I go to install it. I'm peeling the tape. I'm applying a second run of tape on the small rib of the license plate frame. Always cutting it shy so it's not noticeable. My license plate frame is now ready for installation. We'll head back to the car. We'll install the license plate filler panel first. Once we're happy with that, we'll come back with our license plate frame and bolt it up. We're ready to apply the filler panel to the car. You always want to do a dry fit. Everything is clean, and I'm going in to familiarize myself with the installation. So a key note, our filler panel actually matches the trim piece that's under the bumper. So this is the trunk opener, camera, and light assembly. And we'll notice how I managed to lock it in and my holes are still visible. And that's what's important because this gives me the positioning of it. And when you're going in, obviously your tape will be peeled. You want to be able to go in, favor the top, slide yourself into position, and then pivot into position and press here and the sides. So I'm very comfortable with it. We'll be removing the backing for the double-sided tape. You must stay clear of the tape, obviously. So this is the feature that I was referring to. We'll notice a little bevel. There's a provision for the camera itself. And if you do have a ZR1, you'll notice this area is much larger. So I'm ready to go in, favoring the top. I got myself centered. And apply pressure where the tape was. Easier to go with a towel. And don't be shy. The more pressure you apply, the better the tape will adhere. So this usually takes a couple of hours to fully cure, depending on heat, humidity, and pressure. My next step is to install the license plate frame assembly. Now the same conditions apply. We have some double-sided tape. So basically when you do set it, that's where it'll be. Now you do have some play with it, but it's always a good idea to do your dry fit. Now for this one, you could use the bolts as a guide. So I preset them here and I basically install them. So this gives me the positioning, which will be automatically centered. And what's important here is you want the bottom to be parallel with the filler panel. So you got everything consistently straight. Step one now is going to be obviously to peel the tape. Preset my bolts, and in we go. These are T30 bolts going into a plastic insert. So obviously you don't want to over torque these. You just want them hand tight. Using my detailing cloth again to apply pressure over the tape, ensuring a solid install. So many have asked if this will fit the new ZR1. Yes, it will. It is a separate part number simply because the provision for the trunk access is different on the ZR1. So some of you may have already read about it, but they've deleted the button that opens up the trunk. They've added a camera, which is basically using the rear view mirror, which entails a different part number for us. So since our panel actually now locates using that trim bezel, we'll be offering 2 different part numbers. So if you own a ZR1, just be sure to select that specific item. Otherwise, this will fit all E-Rays and all Z06s 2024 and up. And there we have it. This completes the installation of our Z06 E-Ray filler panel with our hypersonic license plate frame to accent the body color of the car. So again, a very detailed cosmetic upgrade, but I think the accent really does highlight the rear of the car. And it does really complement well with our new diffuser assembly, which we'll be covering in our next video. So hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us. Comments below, give us a call, or reach out to us through our website. Have a great day.